I wish for the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro.
Sean, do you mean this one, the one with titanium? Switch to Verizon and get iPhone 15 Pro on them.
Wow.
Get iPhone 15 Pro, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All three on us, only on Verizon.
My whole life I've been a team player, so I was excited to be a part of something new and to learn. Unfortunately, I was not invested in the same way that my white employees were, but it's just kind of interesting to see how things played out and who got the most out of the summer. I can assure you it's not the Black people who spoke up about it. That you can put in there. Just that.
Black employment in America is in a state of crisis. According to Citi, failure to address racial gaps between Black and white Americans has cost the U.S. economy up to $16 trillion over the past 20 years. The Black wage gap alone accounts for $2.7 trillion of that. And while companies work to rectify these inequities, real-time data shows the gravity of the problem. Black women and Black men are paid 63 cents and 71 cents respectively for every dollar paid to white men. And research shows that over a 40-year career, Black women are slated to lose $964,000 due to the pay gap. The gap is even more severe for Native American women and Latinas, and the pay disparity only worsens as education level increases.
I wish for the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro.
Sean, do you mean this one, the one with titanium? Switch to Verizon and get iPhone 15 Pro on them.
Wow.
Get iPhone 15 Pro, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All three on us, only on Verizon.
Black female doctorate degree holders are slated to lose a staggering $1.9 million over a 40-year career. Take Ryan Walker-Hartshorn, a third-generation Stanford graduate with big dreams. Ryan first made headlines in June of 2020, but her story starts much earlier.
I was a collegiate athlete, had a career-ending injury, so didn't really have a plan. I was very interested in writing and media. And so, I really needed an entry-level job just to get some experience working.
Soon after, she found a dream opportunity to work as an assistant to Adam Rappaport, the editor-in-chief of Bon Appetit magazine.
I got what I felt was like a dream position for me, to be working at a large media company under like Vogue, Teen Vogue, Vanity Fair, New Yorker, just like seemed like endless possibilities for me.
While Ryan had her sights set on a future at Condé Nast, she also
I wish for the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro.
Sean, do you mean this one, the one with titanium? Switch to Verizon and get iPhone 15 Pro on them.
Wow.
Get iPhone 15 Pro, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All three on us, only on Verizon.
My whole life I've been a team player, so I was excited.
And I hit the wrong button, so I'm going to have to fast forward to where we were.
I wish for the amazing
Oh,
new
they're
iPhone
going to kill
15
us
Pro.
with this ad.
Sean, do you mean this one, the one with titanium? Switch to Verizon and get iPhone 15 Pro on them.
Wow.
Get iPhone 15 Pro, Apple TV 4K, and 6 months of Apple One. All three on us, only on Verizon.
the editor-in-chief of Bon Appetit magazine.
I got what I felt was like a dream position for me, to be working at a large media company under like Vogue, Teen Vogue, Vanity Fair, New Yorker, just like seemed like endless possibilities for me.
While Ryan had her sights set on a future at Condé Nast, she also had to face an unsettling reality.
The first interview I went into, they brought me to the floor, and I was just like, well, this is white, but cool. Nothing I've not seen. I went to Stanford and like all white schools my whole life, so I can handle this.
Ryan says her offer was roughly $35,000 a year, with an opportunity to make up to $50,000 with overtime.
So that was a sell for me because I was like, hell yeah, I'm out of college. I'll make a lot of money in overtime and I'll be able to make ends meet. And like, that's what people do in New York City.
While Ryan's salary was low, she was still motivated by an opportunity to produce diverse content at an established brand. So in 2018, she pitched a story centered on Black-owned restaurants in her hometown of Oakland, California, for Bon Appetit series, Big Fat Weekend. The article did so well, she was asked to write another one, this time in Washington, D.C. Ryan says she received pushback with requesting pay for overtime hours on several occasions, including for the D.C. story.
And after all of that, my editor told me that she had never experienced that type of pushback or had to ever fight so hard for a budget. There's so many hours that we haven't filed because it was just like too much for us to go through.
Ryan also says she struggled to receive a promotion at Bon Appetit after nearly 3 years, while her two predecessors moved up in the brand after an average of 2.5 years on the job. Both former assistants are white. With a growing collection of writing samples, Ryan expected to follow their trajectory, but says she was lacking one important ingredient: support from her boss.
After my article had performed well, it was like, this is a great opportunity for me to bring it up to my boss about, taking on maybe more responsibility and storytelling. And then in this meeting with my boss, I was told that those contributions were like bare minimum and what was expected of me, and I wasn't doing anything extraordinary out of my job description, and that basically no.
Ryan's struggle to move up within her company is not unique.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to episode 117 of the Real Academy with the Leadership Doctors. We apologize for our technical difficulties this morning. I am Dr. Tammy Taylor, and my trustmate in education, Dr. Sheikah Houston, and I are very, very happy and thankful that you've chosen to spend some time with us this Saturday morning. Good morning, Sheikah.
Good morning, Tammy, and good morning, everyone. Yes, please excuse the tech difficulties. My finger hit the wrong thing. So we did want to show you a very important part of that intro video because it pertains to what we're talking about. But for those of you that are joining us for the first time, we want to let you know who we are. And we are, like Tammy stated, your leadership doctors, HERS. And we are best-selling authors, speakers, and trainers. After experiencing some microaggressions like you saw in our intro video, and also no support under previous leadership, we were still able to lead our elementary and middle schools with our dynamic staff members out of school improvement up 2 and 3 report card grade levels in 1 year. Between the two of us, we have 48 years of experience, and that experience includes school level leadership as well as district level leadership, coaching, and teaching experience.
And those experiences have actually led us to presenting to educators all over the nation and providing support to leaders in our Leadership Trustmate Institute. This institute is for leaders who are currently leading or aspiring leaders, coaches, and teacher leaders.
So why do we do this work? We do this because of what you saw in the video, and also that many districts and organizations struggle to effectively support their leaders. This was our experience, and we wanted to and have become what we needed. So that leads us to our topic today, which is Black women leaders need more support. And we are specifically focusing on Black women leaders because we are Black women leaders, but we definitely know that our Black male counterparts as well need more support. So we hope you enjoyed that intro video. It's a really great segment that they did. But from her experience from the intro, Ryan Walker Hartshorn, it stated that it was not uncommon. And that means that basically what they were saying is where she had experienced success. She had written multiple articles for the magazine that were successful, but even after the success of the articles, the person that was putting in for her to get the overtime pay that she was promised to get, just like everybody else was getting, they had to fight for her to even receive what she was supposed to receive for the work that she had done. Then, when she goes to talk to her boss about a promotion that she definitely, after the success of her articles for the company, felt like she was deserving of, was told that she basically was doing nothing besides her job, nothing over and beyond anything. So, the question is, when they're ending with, this is not an uncommon experience, you have to ask, is this why is this experience not uncommon for Black employees in the workplace? And that's why Tammy and I do the work that we do. Number one, I think awareness is not there. Some people are not aware of the bias that exists in certain things that are happening. And now some things are systematically intentional, and we know that as well. But sometimes that bias or the awareness of those slights in pay, all of those things sometimes are not known by people. It baffled me that they said there's a $964,000 pay gap. That's a lot of money. That is a disparity. So, we need for organizations, for companies to know about this disparity, because when you're seeing companies throw slogans up and statements up about, oh, we support diversity, equity, and inclusion, but then when you go to their list of executives, you see no diversity, you see no equity, and you see no inclusion. We've got to stop making statements that we're saying things, but we're not following up with our actions.
Absolutely. And one thing that's for sure is the times that we're living in require companies to make those statements. You can't get away without having some type of diversity, equity, or inclusion statement that represents your company. But what we find in this current political climate is it's often just a statement, as Sheikah said. And so when you do your research, there truly is very little equity except at the entry level. Sometimes middle level management, you'll find some diversity. But when you look at the executive level, you don't find the kind of diversity that is promised in those type statements. And the other part of what Sheikah is emphasizing this morning to everyone that's with us this morning is, when we are doing the work that we do, awareness is at the forefront of what we want to do. But we also are doing the work because someone has to do something about the situation. And what we have to be prepared to do is speak to those disparities. We have to be willing to address those microaggressions that are in play in most workplaces. And then we have to be able to figure out what this means for us. And for us, that comes through the support that we can provide to the various affinity groups that we talked about before. And that work some of it comes from work that I did during my research when I was working on my dissertation. So we've seen the benefit of paying careful attention to what's happening, especially with our Black women, and we recognize the need for that extra layer of support.
Most definitely. And organizations that are more diverse also see it on their bottom lines. They are more productive. They are also pull in more revenue. So, it is known that we need diversity in order to be successful in organizations, but that support for some reason for people that look like Tammy and I, people that look like some of the people who are joining us this morning, it's not there. So, the question that we're posing to you all, if you would just put in the comments, as leaders, and this is something that we've researched as well, districts and states and organizations, period, have stated that they struggle to support leaders. What does support look like to you? Um, what would it feel like for you to get support? Just put some things in the comments about what type of support as leaders you would like to be able to receive. And, when Tammy and I were going through our experience, one of the things that we didn't have under previous leadership was support. We were in schools that at that time needed some change. And the reason that we weren't supported was strategic only. It wasn't that we were incompetent because we were hired by the person, who wasn't providing that support at that time. But the strategy was, well, they're in schools that are not performing. So if they don't succeed, my strategy is I'm going to disassociate myself with these people, because if they don't, then hey, it's not on me. And that's what we call the Teflon mentality. But real support, for me, feels like, number one, that I'm in a safe place to be able to express ideas, without any type of judgment. Or when I have an idea, um, maybe I need some help fleshing that idea out with someone, or just the fact that, hey, I'm supporting you and letting you try your idea so we can see how that's going to turn out, because I trust your judgment as the leader of that school.
That's very true, Shika. And one thing that I love about the support network that we stumbled into when we were having no support anywhere else was that there were people. Principal Sean Hurd is on here, and kudos again for all of your amazing work all the time, Principal Hurt. But and shout out for that amazing information you're providing us with that Lincoln study and NWEA, because if we listen, that will definitely change things in our schools. But we have to give credit to whom credit is due. And for him, he really was a part of how things began to turn around in our schools. He was the biggest cheerleader. You got this, you can do it. And that's the kind of support we need across the board.
Most definitely. And I want to, how I've highlighted his comment too about bringing in consultant companies of color. And, at our state literacy meeting on yesterday, we had a vendor in to present. And I don't think that a lot of the major corporations, because we don't just see this in other corporate America, it exists here in education as well. Textbook companies, the large companies that get the large contracts with school districts. When you go to their executive leadership pages, there was not one person of color on that page. So this point that he's bringing up about consultants of color, that's something that we need to be intentional about. It's something we need to look at in districts when we're talking about this divide of opportunity gap and how certain students are not performing. Um, Is it because we're not bringing in the right people? Is it because we don't have the right people coming to the table? Is it because we don't have the right information? You know, there's a documentary out about a company, and I won't mention the name, that people have spent millions of dollars on this reading program that has been stated that it does not work for children. But, did anybody ever look at any data around, well, do we have enough companies who maybe are people of color who have done some research on this same topic? What have they said about this? So I don't think that intentionality is there. Principal law says using data in meaningful ways. I definitely agree, and that's something we've talked about in some of our principal meetings, to make sure that they're not just sit and get, but that they're actually where we can bring data and collaborate and talk to one another about the data and bounce ideas about off one another. And Stacy says that her principal gets support from the local district admin, but probably would need even more than that. And I definitely agree, being in that seat. And
Did you see Stacy the other comment, Shika? Because
let me
that's
go back.
very interesting with some of the things that are coming up for us. She was talking about how Black women principals really need that support that is within their own network. And Stacy, that is so interesting because that's something that is coming up soon for us. So you want
Very
to talk
soon.
about that, Shika, with some of the stuff that we've got coming?
Yes, I'll bring one of our upcoming experiences that we are thankful to have the opportunity to be before people, because we don't take these opportunities lightly, is that we'll be at the National Conference for AVID. We've been invited to speak there on effective leadership is obtainable, aligning the work with AVID. So AVID is one of those major corporations that gets really, really big contracts with schools and districts. They're like in a lot of places. So when they are intentional about making sure that our voices are included, those are the types of things that matter. And as educators, as Black and Brown people in education, I think we need to speak up more on those types of topics, and calling people out on those types of things. But the other thing that Tammy and I are really, really excited about is this partnership with the University of South Carolina, where Tammy received her PhD from. And this is based on her work, Africana Womanism, a Paradigm for the Future. I'll let you introduce it, Tammy. And we only got 2 minutes left.
Sure. So it's really, as Shika said, based on the work that I did when I was doing my research for my PhD, and my chairperson, one of my co-chairs, actually came to us and wanted to sponsor this opportunity for us to begin some work with affinity groups, just as Stacy mentioned before, where we will be actually bringing together women in leadership, Black women especially, but anybody who supports them, to talk about the characteristics of Africana womanism as it has been laid out by Dr. Clenora Hudson Weems. So we're super excited to share that information, because we know that this is the beginning of some very needed support that we as Black women leaders can definitely benefit from.
Most definitely. And we are so excited to just be able to collaborate and provide that support for more Black women, because that is something that is lacking in so many organizations, so much so that people outside of education have started to reach out to us for support and for the network. So we are not just supporting Black women in education, we are supporting Black women leaders, period. Because when you talk about organizational management, it really doesn't change much from sector to sector. So we are out of time. Principal Kafele has Dr. Chika Akua joining him for today. So today will be phenomenal. Make sure you jump
Yes.
over there with us. We will continue this until December because we have so much to say about this topic, and there's so much work to be done to make things equitable for Black women in organizations. And also, back on Saturday at 10 o'clock, join Principal Sean Hurt, us at 10:30. We hope that you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy weekend, y'all.
I will put that link to the video in the comments. Thank you, Central.